This is the Climate Story Project, where we share real stories about how climate change is shaping our lives. Stories that connect us, stories that move us to act. This is a project of the New York Climate Exchange, a nonprofit organization that's accelerating climate solutions through our unique partnership model and climate campus on Governor's Island. This Climate Week NYC, we invited the public to tell us their climate story. The story you're about to hear is from David Ohana, a participant at our Pioneer Works pop-up. Here's what David had to say.
I have a lot of family that is based in Iowa, and a lot of them are farmers. But I was born and raised in New York. And so when I was a kid, I would travel there in the summertime, spending a little time working on a farm, which for a city kid was always novel and fun and taxing. It worked exactly as my mom had intended it to work, which was to ideally get me focused and build a little bit of grit. When you're out in the middle of Iowa, there are all these cricks, as they call them. That's how you pronounce it. Just you go down to the crick, So you get in a four-wheeler, and we just zoomed across the farm where we knew where there was a little crick at, and we're just roughhousing. I think I fell into the creek at one point, and then my cousin Chaz came to rescue me, and then I was like, screw that. And I just pulled him in right there with me. And beneath my feet is just this really weird mush, very impossible texture to describe, kind of like sinking dirt that kind of clings to your toes. Very weird feeling. We're taking this stuff up and we're just throwing it at each other like it's the grossest thing in the world. And I'm 12, right? And so for me, it's just a hot summer. We're just trying to cool off. But as we make it back to the family farm, my mom, she's kind of yelling at me where'd you go? And I tell her, it's oh, we had fun, we did this, we did that, and then we went to the creek. And then she stops, she's like, what are you talking about? Oh no, we went down to the creek, it was a great time, She's like, both of you guys are soaked. Oh yeah, we swam, we threw things around, it was a great time. Mom just immediately stops right there. All the family stops doing what they're doing, just looking at us. Mom brings me over and takes out a hose and is just you have no idea. All of the runoff from all of the farms just collects into this little area and just runs down. So it was just totally polluted, and also hormones from all of the different livestock that was around, and fertilizer runoff, PFAs that, seeped into the water. So we're getting this thing in our mouths. But yeah, my parents hosed me off, and and to this day, it's just this very weird experience of just having the most fun, just embracing nature as you are as a kid, going from nature to gross disgust very quickly. There's just so much pollution in all of the waterways around Iowa. It's becoming increasingly an issue in Nebraska. And now when I went back just this past summer, and I'm with all of my family who are farmers, and my grandfather died of cancer, and I hear more stories of other family members, second cousins, aunts, who all have a story of someone, either themselves or someone that they know, getting cancer. And when I was there, I was surprised to see the kind of fervor around people's water purifiers and bottled water, and kind of some skepticism of swimming in the local lakes a little bit. And I don't really think that I had any sense of that when I was a kid. But to learn this thing and then be great, well, now I want to talk to my cousins, my family members who are farmers about it, and be what's their take on it? And it was omerta. I mean, you could not talk about this with them at all, because any idea even that could threaten or disrupt the farming practices or just the farming culture of Iowa was almost a non-starter. And yet they all are able to acknowledge it. But I was surprised at how they could immediately understand an issue, and how that then had all of these downstream consequences, though, being like, well, let's not look into that issue, though, too deeply. Because if we do, we then maybe have to confront some really harsh realities around it. I want to drink water, so I'm going to keep drinking water. I'm not going to think too hard about the water. I don't want my grandma to experience a kind of anxiety when she turns on the tap, which she did consistently. I know that we have family members and other people in our communities who are getting sick, but we don't have enough science to be able to say that it's exactly these practices, right? Even though, you have a University of Iowa that conducted these studies to say these things are really not good. And it's tough to know that your family is at risk precisely because of the things that they do every day. To worry about our cousins having shorter lives, there's a very weird trade-off of the sort of competition to be a great farmer, to provide for your family, and for that to be in tension with the well-being and lifespans and health spans of your family. That, to me, is a kind of bargain that no one should ever have to make. They love their farm. They love nature. They talk about the beauty and the embrace of these wild spaces around them, which are less and less wild. And so I believe in a kind of prosperity for that place and for my family. I think that they deserve that. And they really do at the end of the day, knowing them, despite our differing views on so many things, I do know that they also want that. I think it's possible.
This story is part of the Climate Story Project. To find more stories and learn more about the New York Climate Exchange, visit nyclimateexchange.org and follow us on LinkedIn and Instagram. This episode was produced by Kylie Miller. Thanks for listening.